Okay, please allow me to do a little bit introduction first. So,
As you wish.
hello, I'm Avril.
Hi.
I'm Avril Xu, and I'd like to introduce and I'd like to interview all the great people in the world to spread your wisdom to the whole world. And I hope that we will have a great evening, afternoon with Eric. And I'm so honored to have Eric with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, thank
Thank
you,
you,
thank
Eric.
you. Mm.
So in the very beginning, let me do a little bit let me do a little bit of introduction for Eric.
Ah,
Okay, so Mr. Eric, who is the Master of Education in School Leadership and Management, who has nearly 20 years of English teaching experience and has a rich teaching experience in public examination in Hong Kong, Hong Kong CEE, Hong Kong KLE, and Hong Kong DSE. A lot of teaching experience, and specialized in English grammar and pronunciation. Also, who is the former vice president of a branch club under Toastmasters International. Wow, so a lot of good experience. And who is also the former headmaster of a private secondary school in Shenzhen branch. Right now, he's studying in Germany for Waldorf Pedagogy. Okay, I think I'd better leave the rest for you. Thank you, thank you. It's so honored to
yeah,
have
nice to
you
see
with
you
us.
here. Okay, so I'm so happy to be here with you in the live chat room like this, because it is really very few times I've been interviewed, but it's nice to have some nice chat with other people. Yeah.
So, can you tell us more about yourself?
I think you have already introduced me. So probably I teach English for nearly 20 years, and that's why I think I have lots of experiences and lots of things I could share about teaching English and about learning English. And right now, I'm looking for some new teaching philosophy, and that's why I'm here in Stuttgart, which is in Germany, and it is the starting place of Waldorf education or Waldorf pedagogy. So it is going to be something brand new to me because the concept of teaching is very different from the concept of teaching and learning in mainland China and also Hong Kong. And so this is something that is quite interesting and also very strange to me. And I believe that the most important thing is to find out the talent of our children, because it seems that we may always put on some expectation on the children, but we have to think about themselves because the children should have their own lives, and that's why we should try to lead them to find their own way rather than asking them to walk the way that we are expecting. So this is something that is quite interesting, and I think that it is the way that education should go. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah. Can you explain more about the program you are learning now? Because actually I'm quite new. I don't know about this, but I think it's very famous in Germany.
And actually, world of education is very famous in all over the world. Right now, there are like nearly thousand or maybe 2,000 world of schools all around the world, including about 15 world of schools in Beijing, three world of schools in Chengdu, and some other provinces and some other places. And there are also three world of schools on list. Probably we are focusing on some kind of philosophy that was founded in around 100 years ago. And the person who found this philosophy is called Rudolf Steiner, Mr. Rudolf Steiner. So you can imagine that it was the time 1919. So he has given some lectures to the very first batch of the teachers in order to let them know how we should teach our students. And I can only say that it is very interesting, and maybe there may not be lots of proofs, but it seems that it's work. From my point of view, it is very similar to the concept of feng shui in mainland China. We cannot prove it, but we are still talking about it after so many thousands of years. So this is something that I can find very interesting. Somehow you cannot explain why we are going to do something like this, but it seems to work for the last 100 years. And many students are so happy to be with Waldorf education, and they all have a very nice life, and they can find their own way to go. And that's why we are here. And we try to think about uh, Waldorf education in three dimensions. The first one is about the body, which is our physical body. And then the second one is our soul, how our soul could be educated. And finally, it is something quite spiritual. But if you think that it is going to be somehow religious, then really have to say that it is a little bit different from the religious, from the religious thinking, because we all go back to the very basic thing, and that is how we can try to see a human being with three dimensions: the body, soul, and spirit. So we don't have lots of rules or ritual thing in order to show that okay, you must be in this religion or you must be in that religion. Actually, we have students and parents from different kinds of religions all around the world. Could be Buddhism, could be Muslim, could be Christian, could be Catholic. And that's why I think that it is very interesting. We try to talk about something with soul, with spirit, but not related to current religions. That's why I think that it is worth spending time investigating it. Just like feng shui, we talk about it for so many years, and then some people started to find out why it is working, even though we cannot show very concrete proof that it is working. Yeah.
Probably like a Chinese way of medieval acupuncture.
Yes, yes, yes. We actually talk something very similar to acupuncture.
Yeah.
Because we also talk about some kind of soul. We use the word soul, but I know that in Chinese we use the word qi, hei. So they have some similarities, but it is not exactly the same thing. The interesting thing is that we try to see our body more than just our physical body. We try to see our mind or soul and also spirit. We try to see it in three dimensions. That's why sometimes it is quite difficult to explain, because it's like I always try to explain like this: if a creature live in a two-dimension world, it is very hard for that creature to think about a 3D world. And just like us, we are now in a 3D world. Maybe we can think about 4D if we add in time space. But if we are going to imagine a 5D world or 6D world, it is so hard for us because we don't have that kind of dimension inside our mind. And that's why sometimes it is very difficult to know it. But that's okay, because it is all about a kind of belief. So if you believe that you can see the three dimensions, body, soul, and spirit, then probably you may start to have some sense on how you see yourself in these three dimensions.
Yeah. I read on the page. Yeah, Rudolph. He was a very handsome though.
Yes, actually, he's quite handsome.
And I remember that he said three things about this is I think it's hands, your mind.
Yeah.
What is another one? Yeah. Your heart. Yeah. These three. So I think many things we can see the result is good, but it's hard to explain.
Yes.
Why it worked? It just worked.
Yes.
So
and that's why in our education we encourage students to have this kind of sense very early, and so that they really know what they really want. In Chinese culture, we always talk about our heart, and it is more or less the same thing. We want our students to follow their hearts, to go wherever they would like to go.
Yeah. Wow, that's really good. How do you
Okay.
so how what brings you to Germany to know this program and have the interest to learn it?
Actually, it was like this about 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I had a chance to pay a visit to some Waldorf schools in Hong Kong, and that was the very first time I was exposed myself to Waldorf education. But at that time, I did not have enough teacher training, and so I was thinking whether I should enter this field of education. And then suddenly I received a call from my friend, and he would like to employ me to work in mainland China as a headmaster. So suddenly I have got the offer, and then I put the idea aside of being a Waldorf teacher. And after 2 years, I still believe that I have my own teaching belief, which is very similar to Waldorf education, because I really think that the children should have their own ways rather than doing what the parents expects, or at least they're going to focus on their whole life, but not just the public examination, no matter it is in Hong Kong or mainland China. And that's why I should try to see something new in my teaching career. And that's why I suddenly recall that I used to visit a place which is with Waldorf education, with Waldorf schools. And then some of my friends are actually working in Waldorf fields. And that's why I took their advice and I made my sudden decision in my life, and then I came to Germany to study.
It's just your destiny, the life of your fate.
Yes, yes, because it's like right now I could feel that the thing is really consistent to what I have believed for so many years, for my whole life. But of course, I have spent so much time working, and I did not think very clearly or think very thoroughly on what my thought is. And right now, here in World of Education, all the things have been written down, and then I could see that, oh yeah, this part may be connected to what I have believed for so many years. And that's why I find it very interesting to go ahead.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So how do you study up until now?
And I would say that it is actually a very, very interesting experience, because for most of the time we force ourselves to do something. But in here, we try to follow our will. We try to follow our will. And it's very interesting because you're going to search or by yourself. No one is going to give you anything. You can imagine that when you're studying in universities, in some other places, you are always expecting some PowerPoints or slideshows or notes from the professors. But here, they won't give you anything, or they will just give you very minimum thing. The reason is that it is encouraging you to find out your own question, and you are going to start off with your own way. It's just like I don't give you any food, and then you feel hungry. So if you feel hungry, you will try to find out what food you need to have instead of spoon feed you something. Because if you are spoon fed, it means that you just sit here and then you wait for something to come in, and then you have your food. But right now, I think the meaning behind is that it is trying to give hunger, to make your soul or spirit hungry, so that when it is hungry enough, then you're going to find out what you really need. And that's why suddenly you will go for many, many other things. And then that kind of motivation can lead you to speed up, even though you may have a very slow pace at the very beginning, which is very different from the uh, very popular saying, don't try to lose from the starting line. It is definitely the other way round. Maybe these persons or these students or even me start very slowly at the very beginning. But once you have got the idea on what you want, then you're motivated and then you're going to speed up. This is what I am experiencing right now, because last year I was not ready to study. I did not do well. I was nearly the laziest student in the class because I could not understand a thing about anthroposophy and also theosophy. And it was very interesting. At that time, I could not even understand people speaking in English. I could recognize that they were speaking in English, but I could not comprehend the content. For most of the time, it was totally disastrous for me. But now I look back, the experience is very interesting, and it was like after half a year I started to have that kind of feeling that okay, right now I did not understand. I don't understand Deutsch. I don't understand German language, but I feel quite better to live in Germany. And then I start to have the feeling, okay, now what should I choose? Should I force myself back to the subject content that I don't quite understand, or should I follow my will to learn some German language? Because I feel that I at that time I feel that I was ready to learn some German language. So I in these two choices, I have chosen to follow my will. And so I couldn't imagine that I spent like 3 weeks in the summer holiday, just like in July and also August. I spent 3 weeks at home right here reading books for learning German by myself. And I couldn't believe that I could do so many things. I wrote a lot of looks. I wrote a lot of verbs. Maybe I could not remember all of them, but I feel so good that now I'm more prepared to accept more language content. But of course, if I have chosen to be like this, then probably I'm going to have less time for my thesis, and that's why right now frankly speaking, I'm asking for an extension because I feel that I'm ready now after the start of the term in September. I suddenly felt that okay, right now I don't know why, but I understand what you're talking in the lesson, Professor. And so I started reading lots of books, lots of academic books. And so if I rush to the deadline of the graduation and submit my thesis, it is not a very good idea. And that's why I asked for an extension. And hopefully, I'm going to graduate later in next July. But I feel so ready and I feel so energetic that, okay, right now I can allocate my time very wisely. Sometimes I'm going to listen to German language. Sometimes I'm going to speak aloud. Sometimes I'm going to read the academic books. All the things are like in the right position now. So you can believe that sometimes we can really force ourselves to do something. But if you follow your will, you can believe that that kind of motivation from your inside heart could be very powerful. And then you will simply be so self-disciplined to do all sorts of things, even though okay, someone may ask you for going out, you will try to think that okay, I'm not going out because I want to read books. It's very interesting. Yeah,
Wow, it's so touching. I think it's very against the Chinese culture because in China you
exactly.
see the training. Okay, I teach you this, you remember it or you recite it, not like okay, you just do whatever you like and enjoy what you want to learn. So
Mm.
it gives me, I feel like very touched. It's like you are a little fish and then now you go to the sea and now you enjoy the new era and
Yeah, yeah,
you are
yeah,
so happy in the knowledge
yes.
world. Wow, I feel
Yeah.
so touching.
It's,
That's
it's,
so
it's really
cool.
an interesting experience. I couldn't believe that I would experience something like this because I'm always that kind of person who will fight for the deadline. So if I know that this is deadline, I must try my best to achieve the deadline, and then I'm going to submit the things. But sometimes it is in very bad quality because the main focus is catching up with the deadline, but not with the quality. The ideal case, of course, you're going to have some quality work before the deadline or right at the deadline, but sometimes you just rush for the deadline without any quality. Yeah,
Happen. Yeah. So
yeah,
follow our heart you can achieve a lot of things like me, right? If I don't want to do it, I cannot do so many great videos. And my friends, they are so happy. We have a great interaction. I think this is also a miracle, right?
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So you also mentioned about education. I'd like to ask you about what do you think about the pros and cons of education between Shenzhen, Hong Kong, and the Western countries or Germany?
Well, I would say that it is very hard to do a comparison, but I can try to share my view on different kinds of education. And it is all because of different kinds of culture. And right now in Germany, I could feel that people will put the first priority in enjoying their life. You can't believe that right here, even though you see people working, they look very happy. They are enjoying their job. But of course, if they enjoy the job, it means that sometimes you are not going to expect a very high quality of customer service, because all in all, human beings would make mistake, and sometimes human beings will do things quite slowly. But on the other hand, you can see that people are looking so fine in their work. They are enjoying their work. They feel happy with their job, even though it is not about money. Actually, they have enough money for their life, but if you want to be very rich, then maybe it is not that possible. And it seems that the first priority is that we have to enjoy our life first. And that's why in Germany, um, the shops will close we close on Sundays. And that's why I have chosen to talk to you on Sundays, because right now, if I go out, I can only go to the park and enjoy the enjoy the sunshine. Or I visit some of my friends at their homes. I could not go to any shopping malls because they are all closed.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, but of course, if you think from the other way around, it would be very inconvenient, because if I really want something on Sunday, probably I could not do anything at all. Only some pharmacy will open because of some kind of medical care. If you really feel your stomach is upside down, then you can still find some medicines or pills in pharmacy. So it's like it is very inconvenient. But if you try to think from the other way around, right now I'm a student. If later on I'm going to work in the community, work in Germany, and it means that I also gain at least one day for a week for some rest, or for my family, or for my beloved ones, or for anything, but not working. It was very different from the concept of working 24/7 in Hong Kong and also mainland China. But of course, on the other hand, you can see that if it is in Hong Kong and mainland China, because our first priority will be customer service, or somehow to serve. It is always the first priority, and that's why everything is going to be so convenient. Just one call, and then you can get many of things. If you order things from Taobao, probably they are going to show you the goods like maybe in 1 or 2 days. Here, at least 3 or 4 days in Amazon.
Yeah,
and sometimes if you want to get your package from some box, a mail box, then I have to go far away to get the box, because it was not that convenient in mainland China and Hong Kong. And that's why it is like it depends on what the most important thing is in your heart. If you think that, okay, I don't want to be so tense, I don't want to be so nervous, I want to enjoy my life during my work, and then I can see my family and so, then probably Germany is a place, or maybe in most of the Western Europe places. But if you think that, okay, I really want something that I need every time, then probably Hong Kong and mainland China is going to be very good in this case. And you can always get a number, and then you can always find what you need. Even though at around 3 a.m. you want to have some noodles, or you want to have some rice, it is not that difficult to see in Hong Kong and in mainland China. But if you want to find something to eat at around 3 a.m., I believe that the only way is to cook it by yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe that's why. Maybe you're a good cooker.
I
Yeah.
have to. I have put down cooking for 10 plus years, but right now I have to start to pick up my cooking once again because when I was in Hong Kong, it was so convenient. I walk downstairs and within two junctions, I could find something to eat. But here, I really have to buy my food and cook by myself because it is a little bit far away to find some food to eat nearby. And on the other hand, they always serve maybe Turkish food or Indian food. Yeah, as a kind of fast food restaurant. Okay, so
Mhm.
if you want something fast, then probably you're taking maybe Turkish food or maybe Iranian food, that kind of kebab or yeah, that kind of thing. So if you are not very interested in those kinds of foods, then probably you're not going to take them most of the time. And the other choice will be Burger King and McDonald's. So I'm also not a big fan of hamburgers. I can take it maybe from time to time, but I'm not going to take it every day. Otherwise, I'm going to get fat so easily. that's, and that's why I think that I prefer cooking by myself. Then I can choose really, I can choose something that I really want to have. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure. For me, a typical Chinese stomach. After
Yes,
the same as you, if I ate too much burgers every day, I would feel fed up with it. I really miss the rice.
exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So happy that I'm so happy that we have some Asian market. They call themselves Asian supermarket. So they sell lots of things from different places of Asia, including South Asia uh, and also Taiwan, China, Hong Kong, that kind of thing. So it is still okay to find something that can be used for cooking in Chinese style. So it is very nice. I can still find some black vinegar, Zhenjiang black vinegar, and
Wow,
also
that's
yes,
cool.
Zhenjiang black vinegar. Yeah, so it is very good.
So how often do you eat outside? Mhm.
It depends. I would say that I will eat outside only when I'm just too tired to cook, or maybe I am going out with my friends from time to time, but not very often. Because I believe that people here are very cautious with their own private place. And that's why you may not need to see your friends so frequently. So maybe you're going to see your friends maybe once a week or maybe twice a week. So you have lots of private time. But of course, right now I am staying in Germany for only 1 year and a little bit more. And that's why I don't have many friends. Maybe one day, if you have so many friends in Germany, then you're also busy in lots of gatherings. But
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
the fact is that eating out is very expensive. I forgot to check the currency, but here uh, a standard Burger King set meal will be around 10 euros. Will be about 10 euros. I don't know how
Wow.
much it is in renminbi, but in Hong Kong dollars, it would be around $80.
Yeah,
So
I think
even though
similar, like 10, 90 to 100 something. Like I
could
think.
be, could be, could be.
No, I didn't check the rate now. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's. Yeah, what about the other like decent lunch? Uh, for example, like Indian food or Turkey food. Like if you go out with your friends, and how many people? Like for
Yeah.
one, how much will the cost?
It will be at least €6 or €7 if you share the food with your friends. So this is somehow very interesting. In Hong Kong or in mainland China, sometimes you really don't need to think whether you are going out or not because for most of the time you go out and eat. But here you will start to think about whether it is still worth going out to eat with your friends. Or maybe we find a nice place from one of our friends and then we cook our own food so that we can choose what we like to eat and then we can have very nice chat. We always bring our own food or wine or anything that we like, and then we are going to have our own gathering. So it is very interesting. I would say that because I could not say that which one is better, which one is worse. It's just like it's another different kinds of culture. So in here, people prefer going people's home and then enjoy their gathering time like this. And I think it is somehow also related to the landscape because all in all, Germany is full of lands. Okay, Hong Kong is just too small to be in someone's home. Only if you are very rich and then you have a big home, or maybe in mainland China, there it is so convenient to have any food. So you just need to go down and then you don't have to make your own food. But on the other hand, if you have a chance to make your own food with your friends, it is also a kind of interesting moment that you can treasure with your friends.
Yeah, that's true. That's so typical, like in Shenzhen, in Hong Kong, and in Germany,
Yeah.
it's so different. And what about the eating favors? What do people like to eat in over there? Like all oily stuff, or salty, or sweet, or what about your people's favorite flavors?
It's very interesting here as well. I don't know why. I really don't know why. It seems that like maybe 50% of the people living here are vegetarian. They, yes, there are lots of vegetarians. So if you eat here, you better ask if you want to find your friends to have some nice thing to eat, you better ask all the time, are you vegetarian? Because they really take in vegetarian food, they won't take in any meat. And so it is sometimes it is very difficult to cook for them because in Chinese cooking we always focus on meat. We don't have much vegetarian dish. But in here it is just the opposite. There may not be lots of meat menu, but for the vegetarian food it could be so nice. I used to dislike vegetarian food, but here they make it so delicious that okay, you know that it is vegetarian, you know that there isn't any meat inside, but you just take it because it is in a very nice taste. It is tasty. Why not? So it is very interesting. They always take in vegetables. That's why if you want to have meat, probably I'm going to make it by myself because even though you have a chance to pay maybe like 20 something euros for some meat dish in some very decent restaurants, probably you cannot get that kind of meat that you like.
The flavor,
So
the way they cook.
yeah, it could be the favorite. Yeah, because I'm afraid I have not yet got used to the German taste of meat. So I always cook meat with Chinese style, and that's why I use soy sauce and also the dark soy sauce to cook the meat, and it is very salty and with the help of some sugar, then it is going to be a kind of sweet soy sauce, just like those you see in Hong Kong and mainland China. That's why the Asian supermarket is very important. We can find a number of different kinds of sauce and also seasoning for cooking in Chinese style, and that's why, yeah, I'm still sticking on the Chinese cooking style with rice and also some meat in stir fry them and so on and so on. While my friends here will simply get some vegetables and then they put it into salad. Salad could be their one meal, and for me, salad is just the appetizer. So it's very different. Yeah.
What about some other people? Is that about 50% likes to eat vegetarian? What about the others?
Oh, the others are definitely eating meat. Yeah. But the portion of taking meat is a lot less than us. Maybe they have minced meat all the time rather than a steak in front of you or one chicken leg in front of you. They may have chicken pieces or they may have a piece of salami, which is a kind of very salty sausages, and then you cut them into very thin slices. That is a salami. So it seems to me that even though they take meats, they usually take sausages, different kinds of sausages, but not the exact part of an animal body, like the steak or T-bone steak or the other thing. So it is very interesting because we always have the impression that okay, in Germany they are going to eat the pig arm. I forgot the name of the
猪肘
pig.
子，
Yeah, exactly. But actually, it is not the true case. I think it's because in 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 the culture of in the culture in Chinese people community, we always prefer meat, and that's why we look for any cuisine in Germany, and then we find out okay, this one is with meat, and then we try to promote this one. And actually, I have never seen any German people eating that kind of pig arm or pig leg all the time. I
啊，
have never ever seen anybody, at least in Stuttgart. Maybe I'm going to see someone doing this in Berlin or Munich, but at least
maybe
not in
it's for
Stuttgart.
people like us from the outsider German.
Yeah,
Oh, because
yeah,
I remember when I went to German Munich,
mm,
we have like a group of people, like four, six of us. We went out and we ordered some drink and we ordered
yeah,
noodles and the
yeah,
sausage, very salty. Like oh,
yes, yes, yes,
it's like eating the
yes,
soy sauce, you know.
yes. That's why you have to eat it together with the beer, so that the beer can somehow equalize the taste because the beer is bitter. So you've got something salty and then you have got something bitter. Then it is a kind of equalization. And
Wow,
it is true that people here, German people here, love beer super much. So sometimes I
wow,
also have to change my taste because I actually love red wine or some strong wine like whiskey or vodka. But here
not bad.
it is still applicable to it is still okay to buy some of them, but usually it is quite expensive. So actually, beer is the other choice other than water. So yeah, but I I can not drink so much beer. It's like the beer is really not my cup of tea, and so I could see many people drinking beers. I could maybe drink one big cup like this, and then they can maybe drink like 2 cups of this one for one gathering. So they keep on drinking and drinking and drinking, and they go, cheers, cheers. In German we say Prost, 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 Prost all the time. So every time we paused, cheers. They will drink like glug 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 glug, and then I will drink like. So that's the difference.
That's
Yeah.
so funny. Wow,
Yes,
wow.
exactly.
Mm. So interesting. Yeah, maybe that's the truth because they have to drink it to make it to make the salty away. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
so interesting. So what do you usually cook for yourself?
It depends. It depends. Most of the time, I think I will cook maybe pork or chicken or sometimes beef because it's true that beef is relatively more expensive. So I will stick on pork and chicken. And you can't believe that the chicken legs are always the cheapest in the supermarket. Uh, maybe it's because the Western people do not like to take off the meat from the bones, while we always love that kind of meat next to the bones because we believe that the meat next to the bones should always be the tastier one. They may have the chicken breast all the time, which I really don't like. So it's a good thing to have lots of chicken legs. That's why I always have chicken legs, and sometimes maybe some pork chop also okay. Yeah. So if I want to cut costs, then I'm going to have some chicken legs, and it's just like maybe you get 8 chicken legs, and it is costing you about €8. €8
80
for eight
euros.
chicken legs. Yeah, €8 for 8 chicken legs. So €1 one chicken legs. So it is quite nice. And then you're going to cook it by yourself, and I always do some very simple the stir frying with the help of the sauce or soy sauce and also the oyster sauce. So I
Can you do
think
it
it is
up?
quite okay. Yeah, and I think that you have seen it before. I have also tried stir fried shredded potatoes because
Yeah,
suddenly my classmates said that okay, now we are going to have a very special lunch together, and every one of us are going to bring some kind of your
local food.
some
Yeah.
kind of the local dish of your hometown or country which is related to potatoes. And then remember, okay, I'm going to make the spicy and sour shredded potato, and with the help of the Sichuan pepper oil, it is going to be so delicious.
Wow.
In
So they love
Cantonese, it is
spicy too.
yes,
Salty and
actually they love
spicy.
spicy, but they always get the spicy taste from red pepper. They have rarely tried that kind of pepper taste from Sichuan pepper. In Chinese, it is Huajiao. So it is a little bit like giving you a kind of a lump feeling in your tongue, and they love it very much. And then, oh, it is a kind of spicy taste that I may not try before. But if you want to get it from the real Sichuan pepper, it is not that easy. But with the help of the Sichuan pepper oil, it is a lot better. I can just pour it in and then stir fry a little bit, and then wow, the smell is going to be so appealing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So you also brought something from China to make them to taste our local food.
Yes, and it is really grateful that right now there are lots of people teaching how to cook, maybe in YouTube or maybe in TikTok. So it's quite easy to follow. You just follow the steps, and then you do it, and then you can make it. And after you have made a several times, then you start to have that kind of sense, because sometimes you will make it wrong and then you make a mistake, but then you try to think about why it is so salty, why it is not getting the taste inside. Then you start to have the sense on how you're going to use different kinds of sauces and seasoning, and then you will start to think, and then you will start to make better food. So it's
Yeah,
just like learning again.
I thought they said that there is a very traditional German dish called roulade, something like that. So the
Which one?
old roulade or something, the older, oh, not the older woman, older ladies, they cook for the moms cook for their
Oh,
children. So there
oh
is like
yeah.
some meat, beef,
Ah,
and then with
ah,
all the soy sauce with some, how to say, so mature, uh, some kind of sauce, and then the yellow color, and then
okay,
some onions and
okay.
celery, and then they rolled it up. Then they cook,
Uh-huh.
and it seems good. It seems very yummy, and I think they also like the very crispy stuff. Mm.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
They- mm.
Yeah, so maybe one day I can try to cook here in in Germany, because I know that some of my friends, one of my friends is from Malaysia, and she has just made something, the roasted pork,
Ah,
the roasted
ah,
pork, 烧肉,燒肉, the roasted pork. So with the help of the oven, then we just put the belly and the ribs inside, and then with the heat of the oven, then you can get the roasted pork. So it really looks like that kind of roasted pork in Hong Kong and mainland China. But of course, you have to do something before you put it into the oven. So I would say that it is still possible to make a roasted pork in the future.
maybe your friends will fall in love with you again. Mm. People in Germany are like, wow, it's so good. I think they will love
Yeah,
the flavor. Ah,
yeah,
mm.
yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
so cool. So I think you had a wonderful, um, different flavor over there. Maybe you changed your appetite, right?
A little bit, just a little bit.
Mm.
Actually, I'm still keeping uh, my my choice of food because I don't really want to have hamburgers all the time. So if I have time, then I will start to think about what I'm going to cook. So right now I have to go to supermarket and then I need to think about, okay, what am I going to cook this time? And if I want to cook something like this, then what else do I need? Do I need any garlic or spring onion or pepper, all sorts of things? You have to think like this. Otherwise, you go back home and then you want to make something and then, oh, I don't have this one, I don't have that one. Okay, I cannot make it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
So about if I cook myself every day, one day for one meal, about how much maybe I will spend if I cook for myself for one chicken leg, one dish of chicken leg and one dish of vegetable. About how much it will cost?
I would say at most €3.
€3.
At
Mm,
most €3. Yeah, because
I thought
you
you mentioned €1 one chicken leg.
yes, and the other €2 could be the rice and also some vegetables, and then you may use some kind of sauces, and then you may use some seasonings, all sorts of things, and then maybe you need a cup of coffee. So just put everything inside into a set meal like thing. Then I think it will be at most €3. But I can tell you that if you have €3 at hand and you want to buy something to eat on the street or somewhere else, probably you can only get a few pieces of bread and that's all.
Yeah, it's a different cook.
Yeah.
I think maybe not like in Shenzhen, especially because there are too many people. So we all need to eat. So there are too many restaurants. We have lots of choices, many
Yes, yes,
different types of food. Anytime we
yeah,
go out, wow, all full of shops to eat. Hmm.
yeah,
I see. Wow. So, yeah, thank you. That's very good to know. Very
yeah,
different. Mm. Yes.
yeah.
Speaking about teaching as a teacher, what
Ah,
advice would you give to a young person who consider teaching? Mm.
you mean you would like me to share something to some young and new teachers?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I can. I don't say I'm going to teach or advise. It is just my sharing. And I try to recall my memory when I was a very new teacher many, many years ago. I would say that I had lots of dreams and lots of beliefs. And I can say that if you have that kind of beliefs, if you have that kind of strong will, then probably you have the elements to be a teacher. And you can also try to recall your memory. If you don't want your students to suffer, then probably you're going to show your respect to them and you you really need to see their talent. I know it is very difficult in Hong Kong and mainland China because all you know it is bounded by the curriculum, by the public examination.
Mm.
So I would say depends on um, your 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 skills because it is very hard to make it to make a to make a balance in between all sorts of things like okay you know that this student is not going to make it in the examination, then how are you going to help him or her? But on the other hand you have to show that you have got your homework for them so that it is so that the homework is ready for the inspection from your senior teachers or the principal, and you have the curriculum to fulfill. So sometimes I would say that it is a very difficult thing to strike for a balance. And what I could suggest is that try your best to think from the angle of the students. Try to feel and find out what are the good things for the students, but not what you expect them to be. This is the very big difference. If you have this kind of sense, then I think you're going to be a good teacher. Because I I would say that it is always a very sad thing that most of the children have been taught to be very obedient, so that they are going to follow the all the things from their parents. And if you are going to be a teacher, maybe you can let them understand that they also have their own road. And actually, it is not the opposite idea from the parents. The parents simply want their children to have their own path as well, but it was like the transition time is not very accurate, or it's not very obvious, because we always have that kind of a joke. Before entering the university, the parents will always say no to what you do, especially having relationships or having partners. But then after you enter university, all the adults will certainly ask, why don't you have a girlfriend? Or why don't you do something like this? Why don't you think about yourself? So it's just like all in a sudden. And this is something that you can be cautious about. And in between the timing, you're going to let them know that they should have their own path and they can start thinking about this from time to time. There may not be an answer immediately, just like I'm not going to have a girlfriend immediately after entering the university. It's like, that kind of thinking has to be with quite a long time, so that you can try to inspire them and let them think about themselves in the limited space first, and hope that one day, if they can really get into university, or if they have finished their study, then they have already thought of what they really want to do, but not thinking like, okay, what am I doing now after the examination, after the study? What am I going to do? If they start to think at that time, I would say that it's a little bit late. Yeah.
Wow. So to say, in China, I think it's very different because, like you said, it's all set up curriculum. You just do what I asked you to do, and after a long time, everybody's so obedient. And it's hard to make them to be creative. You tell them to be creative, maybe they already forgot how. So I think it's challenging. And if we Chinese teachers have the chance, I think we all should go to study the Waldorf pedagogy, to try something new, to open our own mind. Because if we can do better, then we can guide better for the students. Yeah, I agree.
And recently I am reading another book from Rudolf Steiner, and you can't believe that it is a book written in about 100 years before. So he wrote the book in around 1922. And you can't believe that Rudolf Steiner, at that time in 1922, has already suggested that young people, would always feel that kind of nothingness inside their heart. And I couldn't believe that after 100 years, it is still the topic that we are talking about. And that's why what I want to add for my sharing is that we always look for science because we want to find out the truth. We look for numbers because we want to find out the truth. And it is true, and it is totally correct. But we also understand that there is something that could not be explained by scientific evidence. And what I believe is that the things that could not be explained by science simply exist. Okay, we cannot say that it cannot be explained so that it does not exist. I don't think so. I believe that they still exist, and that's why right now I still think that the nothingness inside our heart are still here. And that's why what I want to say is that if we want to pursue for science, it is totally okay. But please don't forget, we are all human beings. No matter how much knowledge you have attained, you have acquired from the university, what you are going to do in your entire life is how you are going to interact with another human being. or some other human beings in different levels, your family, your parents, your friends, your colleagues, maybe a passerby on the street or on the road in the street. It is all talking about human beings, which
Yeah.
is something not quite scientific. So
Yeah.
I really hope that try to remember that this is the heart thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. Well, today I read about economics in one lesson.
Ah,
It's also a very old one, like read from 1946. But
mm,
all the basic level, the foundation is all still the same.
yeah.
The people, the space, and long-term view, not short-sighted. It's
Yeah.
the same, still the same, because the problem we meet now in the history already happened many times. So
Yeah.
it's actually similar, like you said. Well, many 100 years ago, people already think about this, but thought about this kind of things, but it's still happening right now. It's still the
Yeah.
same, and maybe even
Yeah.
worse. Yeah. So
Actually, it is worse. From his point, it is actually worse than the time in 100 years ago, and and I think that it is because we look for something too physical, and that's why we should save some of our time for our soul and spirit. It doesn't mean that Waldorf education is one of the way, because I know that many of my classmates are actually playing yoga. They are very professional yoga teachers or maybe yoga students, and that's why they also love meditation. And basically, I don't feel very comfortable with the meditation, but I also think that meditation could be a way for you to feel your body. And if I don't do the meditation, then I will always detect myself when I'm alone, and then I will feel myself. Maybe it is also a kind of meditation, but not that kind of meditation. So I believe that it is just a way to do so. But the most important thing is that have you ever spent time for your own body, your own soul, and your own spirit? This is going to be very important now.
yeah, so important. Recently, I often, when I have some confusions, I just started writing. So when I
Mm,
write down the whole my thinking, I write down it on the screen.
mm,
The answers will automatically comes out. You understand your heart. You understand what do you want. Like how do you gonna go through with your life? What do you really want? And then you will listen to your heart. So it's
yeah.
really important, like you said, recently, because this chaos, pandemic, and all the things
Mm,
makes people feel anxious, and we're
mm,
worrying about our life, our future, and our people around us. It seems to
yeah.
make everything go faster, go faster. We want to find the answer, or we want to
Mm,
have a better life, and these
mm,
things will drive us to hard to sit down to think about the
mm,
things themselves. So I think it's good
yeah.
advice for us, not just for teachers. I think for all the human beings, we should do that. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so what should be done to bring the best talents into the teaching profession? Let's say.
Uh,
What should be done to bring the best talent into the teaching profession? Let's say if I want to be the best trainer, the best teacher, what are the best talents?
oh,
Maybe.
okay, 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 okay. Um, uh, I would say that it would be great if you have the following qualities, or if your character is like this. I think that the first thing that is very important would be um, your ability to observe, because it is always a very important thing to observe anything around you. And of course, it would be great that if you can read someone's face, especially your students' faces, so that you can try to find out a reason why they are like this. So the ability to observe is very important. And only if you can observe in more detail, in more details, then probably you are going to find out more. You may not get the answers in the immediate time because there won't be any model answers. But if you try to do it and then you think about it, then probably you may find some ways to go, and then you can see which one is the better way to get into the children's heart or the student's heart in terms of learning or whatever. Because all in all, it is about human being. And I think that uh, learning and teaching is so interesting because it is always interactive. It is very different from buying and selling. If you buy some vegetables in the supermarket and you just need to choose, it is just a single way. The vegetable would not say that, I don't want to be picked up by you, get away from me. Nine. The vegetable is not going to say something like this, so you can always choose your thing. It is just a single direction. For teaching and learning, it is going to be very interactive. However, um, um, the interactive thing is sometimes not very efficient because maybe some students, some children are not very good at expressing themselves. And that's why if you want to be a professional teacher, then you probably have to take up the role to be more observative in order to find out what the student needs. Or maybe you need to look for their backgrounds in order to see why they have this kind of reaction. So it was like every time if we see some misbehavior of a student, if it is a matter of life, then probably we have to stop immediately. But if it is not a matter of life, then we need to think about different kinds of combinations of possibilities on why the students react like this as a behavior. What is behind? Is it about his family? Is it about his own ability? Is it about his own mental ability? We need to think lots of things, and that's why you have to observe. And the second thing, and the second quality is also very important, and that is patience. To be very patient all the time, because it's like students are always young and they sometimes cannot understand many things, and that's why you really cannot just say it and then they understand it. Never, because sometimes even though you say it, they may know it, but it doesn't mean that they really understand it. In Chinese, we always talk about 知难行易 or 知易行难. Which one? Which one is the way? I would say that 知难行易, to know something, and that is very difficult. But once you understand it, it is going to be so easy. And this is why I love Waldorf education, because if you tell some people, then probably you will the people will say, yes, I understand, but I understand your word only. I may understand the content, but it is not motivating me. It is not going to motivate me to take action. So this is the thing. But once you really understand what it means, then your action will be so quickly. And that's why sometimes you really need patience. Because my case is that last year, the whole year, I was not that ready. So I know that sometimes I did not do very well in the class, and my teachers are always very patient to me, and they may not punish me, or they may not ask me for a talk, but they will be very considerate to see what help or what assistance I need at the time. So it's like, you really need to be very patient, even though you see some kind of uh, misbehavior at that moment. But if the students can go through these and then suddenly they really understand right inside their heart, then they will just motivate themselves to do the things as you may have expected, but in their own motivation. We will use the word intrinsic motivation. So they are going to do it without being told anymore. They will just go for it, and it could be lasting for their whole life. So it really depends on how you see the thing. And I think that probably patience is going to be very important, because sometimes maybe the kid are not going to do things in 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years time. But you just don't know, because everyone has their own pace of growth, and maybe sometimes it take a few years before it suddenly changes. So sometimes patience is going to be very important, because maybe maybe sometimes you really want to scold him or her for something, but you really need to think about whether you are going to do this or not, or is it really helpful for him or her. Then as a teacher you are going to think of this. And that's why I would say that these two qualities are going to be very important. And of course, maybe some other thing, like you are going to be quite familiar with the subject that you are going to teach. And I think these are some very basic things, so I'm not going to mention it. But I really think that being observative and also being patient is a two very important thing to be a good teacher.
Wow, that's so true. Because I'm also in the training field, so I really, really have the feeling. Sometimes we really should go into the student's heart. You should always, we should be understand them. Sometimes why they are always late, maybe they have some special occasion. We cannot just come and blame them why you're late today. And we should understandable and try to find out the real things behind them and be more understandable, be patient, so that they feel that we are at their side. As long as they feel safe with us, I think they, and then try to find out their motivation to study or to explore the world. I think that that's what we can do as a trainer or teacher.
Yeah, at that time when I was teaching in Hong Kong and mainland China, I always chat with the parents. I said that, okay, now your kid has become a teenager at around 13 or 14 years old. Remember to change the tone of speaking. Sometimes they don't need advice because they are searching for themselves. The very important thing is to keep the bridge of communication between the teenagers and the parents. If the bridge is broken, it is very hard for the parents to talk to the teenagers. And just like what you said, the teenagers may have lost the trust to any other people, and they are not willing to share their inside feeling. Then it is going to be very, very difficult to tackle their case. And that's why I always remind parents that when the kids have come to the teenage stage, probably talk less, keep the bridge of communication, and just go through the hard times with the teenagers, and then something will be better later on.
Yeah, that's why you are a great headmaster. Yeah, I believe the students' parents will really appreciate this. This is really, really good. I think as a teacher, not just about teach the knowledge, about the mental part is also very important. You remember the case, one parent, the mom slapped on a student's face, and he just jumped off the bridge. I think it's in Shanghai or somewhere. So similar. I think you remind me about this news. Typically, sometimes the parents will think, I spend my whole life to support you to study. Why you are playing around, don't do the study. But if you are being impatient, if you are being feel better about yourself, but not trying to connect with your child in heart, then time after time, it will have some tragedy happen maybe in the future. Yeah.
Yes. This is also the part that I can also share a little bit. It is about your own will and duty. The word duty. We have lots of duties in our life. We have been trained to take up duties all the time. And that's why every single one of us has lots of identities because of different kinds of duties. And this generation may have been well trained, so we don't feel very bad that we have to take up duties all the time and try to cover our own emotion. But I can feel that our youth is having very different kinds of uh, quality. I don't know why. Maybe it is the era from different historical points. I really don't know. It's true that right now youth people will focus more on their own will, and that's why they will follow their will all the time. And it doesn't mean that they are going to take up the duties all the time. Uh, well, there will be some good things and some bad things because we are always looking for some people very responsible. But if you see it from the other angle, if they follow their will and finally they take up the duty um, uh, uh, willingly, then probably they are going to fulfill the duty all the time. While we, the generation, may feel okay to take up responsibilities or duties, but sometimes we just complain. That boss is blah 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 blah. That one is blah 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 blah. I really hate that job, but I have to do so. And then after that, have with a drink or two, and then go back to work. I can only say that these are two different kinds of living styles, or yeah, whatever. It doesn't mean that which one is better, which one is bad. I don't have any idea. It's like this is what I could observe from the society or that kind of change in ideology, and that's why if parents still stick on our own way in our generation, there will be lots of conflicts. Maybe it is a part of the evolution of human beings. I really don't know, but it's true that at that kind of teenage time, they are searching for their needs. They are finding their wills, and that's why they may not have a very strong sense of having duties. Maybe some of them are still have some kind of understanding of what duty they should have, but right now many of them may have a very strong sense on person on individuality, and that's why they are doing something which is quite irrational at teenage time. So parents must try to be very observative rather than simply come to conclusion too early, because if you say that we come to conclusion, it is very likely to be something very scientific. I observe something and I conclude with something. But what I have just mentioned is that it is all about human being, about our soul, our spirit, and that's why we have to be very observative, not just for some basic behavior, but you need to look into the soul. It is very difficult. I could say that it is very difficult. I also have difficulties in doing so, but only if we have this kind of direction. It's just like training, and after so many years of training, then you will start to feel something. But if you don't start off with the training, if you don't start for the first step, then after many years it is still a zero pace, and that's why it is a hard thing to be parents. But I can only say that we may try to observe, and then we try to see what we can help with, what we can help, what we can help our teenagers. Yeah.
You are great. You are a great teacher. I can see your passion. You see, many times you love sharing. And every time you devote yourself to even strangers in our group, in AETM group, you often share about the knowledge and the things, the life with us. I can see about your passionate about interactive with people, and I think all the whole society really needs you, this kind of person, to people to help the whole world to be better. I see you shared a lot of some knowledges in the group, the pictures about the phrases and about the interesting proverbs, and also sometimes you will share your life with us in Germany when you go to see the bands. I think it's really good. It's really good, and I can see your sparkling when you talking about how to make the parents to do better for their children and to educate them better. That's why what drives you to go to Germany to learn better and to make better for this world. I think you are really a very respectful teacher. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm also just learning. Okay, I'm also just learning.
But I really quite agree with what you just said. We really need to put our heart into the details so that we can know what is wrong, when something wrong, or what can do better to help the children to find themselves, to motivate themselves better, to learn things automatically, to not just the one-time learning, but the whole life learning all the time. I think it's very important. Thank you so much.
I think one more thing that I would like to add is that actually I'm also learning because we always have been trained to find mistakes, and it is our instinct. Because there is a Chinese saying, 万物丛中一点红. A red spot can always be recognized easily on a piece of grassland. So it is our instinct to find something different. And what we are going to train ourselves is to be positive, positive and try to find something good to say. And I think it is going to be very important. Sometimes I know that people are making mistakes, but you focus on the good things. And for sometimes it's very hard. It's very hard because that person or maybe that student, that child has done something wrong. And if we can train ourselves to look for the good things all the time, and we empower the good things, it is also a way to go, because if you emphasize on the good thing, it means that it is something good, and so the students or the children will go for it because I know that it is going to be something that I should do and that I will get appreciated. Why not doing so? So it is very important then, and I know it is very difficult. That's why right now it is very difficult for me to appreciate people. I'm also learning, but I could see that when I have done something, a presentation or performance, something like this, and then people will mostly give you the appreciation on how you work well. Then it's like I will start to think about, okay, then what is not doing well. I will start to think about it by myself. And if I really don't know the answer, then maybe I'm going to ask for some close friends in private. But most of all, you get the positive appreciation first, and then it can create that kind of very positive linkage between your life experiences and your emotion. So I would say that it is also a way to go for parents, for everybody, and that's why we always try to be positive and try to appreciate.
Yeah. Thank you. That's cool. It's life is long, and we just need to keep learning all the time.
Exactly.
So, what do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years? Do you have what's your plan? May I ask?
It is a very good question, and I hope that I'm going to work in Germany because, I'm studying here, and I really hope that I have a chance to try to apply what I've learned here in Germany. And maybe after 5 or 6 years, let's see if I have a chance to go back to Hong Kong or mainland China. I'll also go there. But I would say that right now I prefer staying in Germany because it is a very nice city, except the language barrier. People are always very humanistic. Yeah. But of course, on the other hand, the administration thing is always very inefficient. But you can really have that kind of enjoyment when you can come across with someone on the road and then you say hi and then you start chatting.
Sure.
And it is something that is not common in Hong Kong and mainland China. But in here it is, you know, even some people will simply chat with you on the road and maybe asking for some little thing or whatever, or maybe ask for a favor. So you can feel that kind of relationship in between people, even though they are only passerbys. And you will feel so relaxed that you don't need to be too cautious all the time. And that's why this is the feeling that I really enjoy. And that's why I hope that I'm going to stay in Germany for a while first. And if one day I'm going to try the Waldorf education in Hong Kong, maybe I'll go back to Hong Kong later.
Yeah, I can feel the difference of living there, the feeling of in Hong Kong, because in Hong Kong people are so busy all the time, and sometimes maybe you need to be aware of scammers. I can feel.
In Hong Kong, we have been trained to see every other people transparent because we have seen so many people in our life in one day, and we are too tired to entertain any more new people. Okay,
Yeah.
unless we have to maybe, oh, it is my new colleague that I have to. Then I have to show my gratitude to him, or maybe this is the new working partner, so I have to chit chat, and that's why we have lots
So
of things to
fast.
do. And yeah,
The working rhythm so fast and so busy all
yes,
the time.
yes, that's why on the street we tend to not seeing anybody. I cannot see you, you cannot see me. Okay, we just pass by.
Yeah, maybe probably like people in Huaqiangbei are so busy all the time, too busy
Yeah,
to
yeah.
too busy to talk. So I bet you must feel very relaxing there, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, one thing that I feel so happy is that, well, I do have a high blood pressure. When I was working in mainland China and Hong Kong, I had to rely on the blood pressure pills. I couldn't believe that in Germany, I haven't had my blood pressure pills starting from
Wow,
last year.
wow.
So when I was working in mainland China, I need to take two pills, one in daytime, one at nighttime, in order to keep my pressure. But in here, I could feel that I can still survive even though I have a high blood pressure. It sometimes I may feel tired, but for most of the time I can still work with my schedule. And I brought so many pills to Germany because I'm afraid I could not get them. But actually, I
You didn't
haven't
use
started
them at
using
all.
them. Yeah, they are still inside my box, and I haven't touched them. So it is something that I really
Great.
appreciate myself.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, I should send my mom there. Yeah.
yeah. You know, because all in all, I believe that health is the most important thing. I truly understand this point.
Yeah.
Although we can make so much money in different kinds of aspects or in different ways, it's really true that you cannot buy anything for your. I know one saying which is very interesting. You can spend money to buy medicines and pills, but you cannot buy health. Yeah,
Mm,
so
yeah.
I think I really understand this one, and that's why as long as I've got enough money, that's okay. But I really want to live longer,
Sure.
and that's why yeah, start to have a healthier life, and it is interesting.
Wow, that's great. That's great. I feel so happy for you. I think
Yeah.
Germany maybe it's the right place for you to stay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Wow.
Mm,
So we planned for 1 hour. I thank you so much for all of your
mm,
time, and
yeah.
I really
Thank you for your
appreciate
invitation.
your devout to all the questions and you open
Uh,
sharing. Thank you so much.